The first time my daughter called me crying for money, I did what most mothers do. I didn't ask too many questions. I didn't make her feel small. I didn't remind her of all the times I had already helped. I just sat on the edge of my bed, held the phone close to my ear, and listened to my baby cry like she was still that little girl who used to run into my arms when thunder shook the windows. "Mama," she said, her voice breaking. "I don't know what else to do." And that was all it took. Those few words opened a place in my heart that never really closed. I had been a mother for 36 years, and no matter how grown your child gets, no matter how tall they stand, no matter how much they tell the world they can handle life on their own, when they call you crying, you hear the child inside them. You hear scraped knees. You hear bad dreams. You hear the first day of school. You hear every night you stayed awake while they slept. So I said, "How much do you need, baby?" She got quiet for a moment. Then she whispered, $800. $800. That was not small money to me. I was not rich. I had never been rich. I worked hard most of my life, and after my husband passed, I learned how to stretch every dollar until it almost cried. I knew which grocery store marked down meat on Tuesday mornings. I knew which bills could wait 3 days and which ones could not. I knew how to keep my lights on, my dignity straight, and my head above water. But $800 was still $800. I looked around my bedroom while she cried softly into the phone. The room was quiet except for the ceiling fan turning slow above me. My Bible was on the nightstand. A basket of folded laundry sat near the chair. A photo of my daughter, Camille, stood on the dresser in a gold frame. She was 16 in that picture, wearing a white dress for church, smiling like the world had never hurt her. That was the Camille I saw in my mind when she cried. Not the married woman with a house across town. Not the woman who had started wearing expensive perfume and calling me only when she needed something. Not the woman whose husband barely looked me in the eye anymore. I saw my child. "What happened?" I asked her. She sniffled. "Bills got behind." "What bills?" "Just bills, Mama." I waited. She did not explain. I heard some movement in the background, like she was walking into another room and closing a door. Then she said, "Lower, please don't tell Marcus I called you." That made me sit up straighter. Marcus was her husband. They had been married almost 6 years at that time. He was the kind of man who smiled with his mouth but not always with his eyes. He dressed sharp, spoke smooth, and always acted like he was the smartest person in the room. At the wedding, everybody said Camille had found herself a good man. He had a steady job. He had a nice car. He wore a suit even when he didn't have to. He spoke about investments and credit scores and building generational wealth. People love a man who knows how to say big things. But I had learned something about people. The mouth can build a whole house while the hands are busy tearing one down. Still, I stayed quiet. Because mothers of married daughters have to be careful. If you speak too soon, you are interfering. If you ask too much, you are controlling. If you notice pain, you are being dramatic. So I had learned to hold my tongue and watch. "Why can't Marcus know?" I asked. Camille breathed hard, like she was trying not to cry again. "He'll be embarrassed." Embarrassed that his wife needs help? "Mama, please." The way she said please made me stop. Not because I believed her. But because I knew she was tired. So I said, "All right. I'll send it." She let out a breath. "Thank you, Mama. I promise I'll pay you back." "You don't have to promise me anything," I said. "Just tell me you're okay." "I'm okay." But she said it too fast. And if you've been a mother long enough, you know when okay does not mean okay. I sent the money that evening. I remember sitting at my little kitchen table, wearing my reading glasses, carefully typing in the amount on my banking app. My finger hovered over the button for a moment. $800. I had been saving that money to fix the leak near my back porch. Every time it rained, water gathered by the steps, and I worried I would slip one day carrying groceries. My neighbor Mr. Harris had told me I needed to get it repaired before the damage got worse. But my daughter was crying. So the porch could wait. That is how it started. Not with a big lie. Not with a dramatic scene. Just one phone call. One mother listening to one daughter cry. The next month, she called again. This time, it was $500. Mama, I'm so sorry, she said. I hate asking you. I was standing in the grocery store when she called. I had a small cart with eggs, bread, chicken thighs, greens, and a bag of rice. I remember looking at the prices and feeling my chest tighten. Everything cost more than it used to. Even the simple things. What happened now? I asked. The car insurance, she said. We had an issue with the payment. We? She got quiet. Then she said, I mean me. I closed my eyes for a second. Around me, people walked by pushing carts, laughing, checking labels, living their own lives. Nobody knew I was standing there with my daughter's fear in my ear. Where is Marcus? I asked. He's working. Does he know the insurance is behind? Mama. There it was again. That small warning in her voice. The one that told me not to step too close. So I backed up. I always backed up. That was my mistake. I sent the $500. Then the next month, she needed $600 for groceries and utilities. Then $700 because the mortgage was a little short. Then $300 because she said her account had been locked. Every month, there was a reason. Every month, there was a tear. Every month, I told myself it was temporary. I stopped buying little things for myself. I canceled my hair appointment and started twisting my own hair at night with tired fingers. I stopped getting my nails done, even though that had been one small joy I allowed myself after years of working and raising children. I told my church group I couldn't go on the weekend bus trip to Savannah. I said my knees were bothering me. That was not true. My knees were fine. My bank account was hurting. But I didn't want to tell anyone. Because there is a shame that comes with helping grown children and struggling in silence. People think a mother should know better. They say, you need boundaries, like boundaries are easy when the voice on the other end of the phone is your own child. I knew I should ask more questions. I knew something was off. But love can make you soft in places where wisdom is trying to speak. By the 4th month, I had sent Camille nearly $3,000. And still, every time I saw her, she looked nervous. Not grateful. Not relieved. Nervous. She came by one Sunday afternoon after church. I had made baked chicken, rice, green beans, and sweet tea. It was just me, but I still cooked like somebody might come. When you have lived in a full house before, it takes years for your pots to learn how to cook for one. Camille walked in wearing dark sunglasses, even though the sky was cloudy. Hey, Mama, she said, kissing my cheek. I hugged her and felt how thin she had gotten. You losing weight? I asked. She pulled away. Just busy. Busy doesn't make your bones show. She smiled a little, but it didn't reach her eyes. Where's Marcus? At home. He didn't want to come? He had some things to do. I didn't say anything, but I noticed she kept checking her phone. Every few minutes, the screen lit up, and her whole body changed. Her shoulders tightened. Her smile disappeared. She answered one message with both thumbs moving fast, then turned the phone face down on the table. Everything all right? I asked. Yes, Mama. You sure? She picked up her fork and pushed rice around her plate. I said yes. That tone cut me a little. Not because it was loud. Because it was tired. I knew my daughter. When she was little, she used to hum while she ate. Even as a teenager, she would talk between bites, telling me every little thing that happened at school. That Sunday, she barely swallowed. After dinner, I wrapped up leftovers for her. Chicken, rice, green beans, a slice of pound cake. She stood by the counter watching me, arms crossed, face far away. "Baby," I said softly, "are you and Marcus having trouble?" She looked at me sharp. "No. Camille." "Mama, please don't start." "I'm not starting. I'm asking." She grabbed the container from the counter. "We're fine." "Then why are you always needing money?" The question came out before I could soften it. She froze. For a moment, she looked like she might tell me everything. Her eyes filled with tears. Her mouth opened. Then her phone rang. She looked down. "Marcus." I saw his name on the screen before she turned away. She wiped her face quickly and answered. "Hey," she said, her voice changing into something small. "I'm leaving now." I could hear his voice through the phone, not the words, but the tone. Hard. Fast. Camille's face went still. "I said I'm leaving now," she repeated. Then she hung up. My kitchen felt colder. She picked up her purse. "I have to go." "Camille, wait." "I can't." I followed her to the door. "Baby, if something is wrong, you can tell me." She stopped with her hand on the knob. For 3 seconds, she didn't move. Then she turned around and hugged me. Not a quick hug. A desperate one. Like she was holding on to the last safe thing she knew. I wrapped my arms around her and felt her shaking. "Mama," she whispered. "Yes?" But before she could say anything else, a car horn sounded outside. Once. Then twice. She pulled away from me so fast it hurt. "I love you," she said. Then she left. I stood in the doorway and watched her walk to the car. Marcus was in the driver's seat. He didn't wave. He didn't get out. He just sat there with both hands on the wheel, staring forward like my daughter was late for an appointment she didn't know she had made. Camille got in. The car pulled away. And I stood on my porch holding the doorframe, with a strange feeling settling in my stomach. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about her face. The sunglasses. The thin arms. The way she said, "Please don't tell Marcus." Around midnight, I got out of bed and made tea. I sat in the kitchen with the light low, holding the mug with both hands. The house was quiet. Too quiet. My husband, Joseph, had been gone 9 years by then. Sometimes I still talked to him when the house got too heavy. That night, I looked at his picture on the wall and said, "Something's wrong with our baby." Of course, the picture didn't answer. But in my heart, I heard what Joseph would have said. Then go find out. The next morning, I did something I had never done before. I checked my bank statements. Not just the balance. The details. I opened every transfer I had sent Camille over the past 4 months and wrote them down in a little notebook. 800. 500. 600. 700. 300. 400. Then another 500. The total made my hand go still. $3,800. I sat back in my chair and stared at that number. I had given almost $4,000 in a few months, and I still did not know why. That was when I felt shame. Not because I helped my daughter. But because I had helped without seeing. There is a difference. Helping with love is one thing. Helping with closed eyes is another. I called her that afternoon. She did not answer. I called again around 6. No answer. At 8:30, she texted me. Can't talk right now, Mama. I'm tired. I typed back. Are you safe? 3 little dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, she wrote. Yes. Please don't worry. But a mother worries most when her child tells her not to. A few days passed. Then she called again. This time, she wasn't just crying. She was sobbing. Mama, I need help. I was in the laundry room, pulling towels from the dryer. My heart dropped. What happened? I need $1,200. I gripped the dryer door. $1,200? I know. I know it's a lot. Camille, what is going on? I can't explain right now. Then I can't send it. The silence that followed felt like someone had stopped breathing. Mama, she whispered. No, I said, even though my voice shook. Not until you tell me the truth. She cried harder. I can't. Why not? Because you'll hate me. I sat down slowly on the little stool near the dryer. Baby, I could never hate you. You don't know that. Yes, I do. She made a sound like she was trying to speak, but then I heard a door close on her end. Her voice dropped so low I could barely hear. He said if I don't fix it by Friday, everything is going to fall apart. Who said? She didn't answer. Marcus? Still nothing. What is going to fall apart? Mama, please. I just need the money. I closed my eyes. Every part of me wanted to send it. Every mother bone in my body wanted to rescue her first and ask questions later. But something stronger rose up in me. Not anger. Fear. Real fear. The kind that tells you if you keep doing the same thing, you may help bury the truth deeper. I want you to come over, I said. I can't. Then I'm coming there. No, she said quickly. Too quickly. I stood up. Why not? Mama, don't come here. Camille. Please don't come here. Then the line went dead. I called back. No answer. I called again. No answer. I texted. No reply. I stood in that laundry room with warm towels in my hands and cold fear in my chest. I waited 10 minutes. Then 20. Then I got my purse, picked up my keys, and drove across town to my daughter's house. I told myself I was not going to make a scene. I was just going to check on her. That is what mothers say when they already know their heart is leading them into something painful. Camille lived in a nice neighborhood with trimmed lawns and wide driveways. Houses with wreaths on the doors and porch lights that came on automatically when the sun went down. Their house looked peaceful from the outside. White brick. Black shutters. 2 flower pots by the door. But I had lived long enough to know peace on the outside can hide war behind the walls. Marcus's car was in the driveway. Camille's car was not. That made me pause. I parked across the street and sat there for a moment. Maybe she had gone to the store. Maybe she was with a friend. Maybe I was overreacting. Then I saw movement through the front window. Marcus walked across the living room holding a phone to his ear. He looked angry. Not irritated. Angry. He paced like a man trapped in his own lies. I got out of the car. My knees felt weak, but I walked anyway. I went up the front steps and rang the bell. The pacing stopped. For a long moment, nobody came. I rang again. Finally, the door opened. Marcus stood there in a white shirt and dark pants, his face tight. Mrs. Eleanor, he said. He always called me Mrs. Eleanor when he wanted distance. Marcus. His eyes flicked past me toward the street. Camille isn't here. I can see that. He did not invite me in. I looked over his shoulder. The living room was spotless, but something felt wrong. Too neat. Like someone had cleaned in a hurry. Where is my daughter? She went out. Where? I don't know. She's grown. I held his eyes. Then I'll wait. His jaw tightened. Now's not a good time. For who? He smiled a little, but it was not friendly. For anyone. I stepped closer. Marcus, my daughter called me crying. Then she begged me not to come here. So you can either let me in, or I can stand on this porch until every neighbor on this street knows something is wrong. His smile disappeared. For a second, I saw the real man behind the clean shirt. Then he stepped aside. I walked in. The house smelled like lemon cleaner and something else. Stress. You might not think stress has a smell, but it does. It sits in the air like old smoke. I looked around slowly. There was a framed wedding photo on the mantel. Camille looked so happy in that picture. Marcus had his hand on her waist, smiling like he had won something. Would you like water? He asked. No. He stood near the entryway, arms crossed. Why are you really here? I turned to him. Why is my daughter asking me for money every month? His face didn't change, but his eyes did. Just a little. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't insult me. I'm not. She asked me for $1,200 today. He looked away. That was the first crack. I felt it. Did you know? I asked. He laughed under his breath. Camille has always been emotional. Answer me. He looked back at me. You know how your daughter is. She panics. She makes things bigger than they are. My daughter is not a liar. I didn't say she was. No. You just said it softer. The room went quiet. Then I heard a sound. A small vibration. A phone buzzing. It came from somewhere near the couch. Marcus moved quickly, but I saw it before he reached it. Camille's phone was face down under a throw pillow. My heart dropped. If Camille had gone out, why was her phone there? Marcus picked it up and put it in his pocket. Why is her phone here? I asked. She forgot it. Camille forgets many things. Her phone is not one of them. He took a breath, like he was losing patience. Mrs. Eleanor, I respect you. But this is between me and my wife. No, I said quietly. When my daughter calls me crying for money, and then disappears without her phone, it becomes my business. His eyes hardened. Before he could answer, we heard keys at the back door. Camille came in through the kitchen. She stopped when she saw me. Her face went pale. Mama? I turned toward her, relief and worry hitting me at the same time. She looked like she had been crying. Her hair was pulled back, but loose pieces stuck to her damp cheeks. She held a grocery bag in one hand. And on her wrist, just below her sleeve, I saw a dark bruise. My breath caught. Camille saw me looking and pulled her sleeve down fast. Too fast. Marcus spoke before I could. Your mother was worried. Camille looked at him, then at me. Her eyes begged me for something. But I did not know what. Silence filled that kitchen and living room like water rising. I stepped toward her. Baby, I said softly, what happened to your wrist? She looked down. Marcus said, she bumped it. I did not take my eyes off my daughter. I asked Camille. Her lips trembled. It's nothing. I knew then. Maybe not everything. But enough. The money. The fear. The crying. The phone hidden under the pillow. The bruise. All of it stood in front of me like a door I had been afraid to open. And behind that door was a truth that could break my daughter's life wide open. I looked at Marcus. Then I looked at Camille. And I said, I'm not leaving until somebody tells me the truth. Camille closed her eyes. Marcus took one step toward me. And before anyone could speak, his phone rang. He looked at the screen. His face changed. Not anger this time. Panic. He turned away and answered. I only heard 3 words before he walked down the hall. I have it. Camille's whole body began to shake. I looked at my daughter, and for the first time, I saw something I had refused to see. She was not just asking me for money. She was trying to survive something. When Marcus walked down that hallway with his phone pressed to his ear, the house changed. It was already quiet, but now it felt dangerous quiet. The kind of quiet where every little sound has meaning. The refrigerator humming. The grocery bag crinkling in Camille's hand. Her breath catching in her throat. My own heartbeat knocking against my chest. I wanted to run after Marcus and demand answers. But my daughter was standing in front of me, shaking like a leaf in a storm. So I went to her instead. Camille, I whispered. Look at me. She would not. Her eyes stayed on the hallway where Marcus had gone. I took the grocery bag from her hand and set it on the counter. Inside were cheap things. Noodles, canned soup, store-brand bread, 1 pack of chicken wings. That bothered me more than it should have. Because all these months, she had been telling me she needed money for groceries. Yet the food in that bag looked like a woman counting coins. I touched her arm gently. She flinched. That little flinch broke something in me. Not loudly. Not all at once. But deep. I had seen my daughter fall off a bike when she was 10 and split her knee open. I had seen her cry over boys, friends, disappointments, and the death of her father. But I had never seen her afraid of touch. Baby, I said, keeping my voice low, is he hurting you? Her eyes filled so fast they shined. But still she said, no. I looked at her wrist. The bruise was half covered by her sleeve. Then what is that? I told you. I bumped it. On what? She looked away. Camille. Mama, please. That word again. Please. It had become the fence around her secrets. I wanted to tear that fence down with my bare hands. But I had to be careful. A scared person does not run toward truth just because you opened the door. Sometimes they run deeper into the lie because the lie feels safer. So I softened my voice. Come home with me tonight. She looked at me quickly. I can't. Yes, you can. No, Mama. I can't. You can pack a bag. We can leave right now. She shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. You don't understand. Then help me understand. She pressed her lips together. From down the hall, Marcus's voice rose slightly. I could not make out everything, but I heard pieces. Friday. No, I said I had it. She doesn't know. Then a door closed. Camille grabbed my hand. Her fingers were cold. Mama, you need to go. I stared at her. You want me to leave you here? He'll be worse if you stay. The words came out so fast and so quiet that for a second I thought I had imagined them. But I hadn't. There it was. The truth, small and shaking. My throat tightened. Worse how? She covered her mouth like she wanted to pull the words back. I held her shoulders. Camille, listen to me. Whatever is happening, you are not alone. She cried harder. You don't know what he's done. Then tell me. She looked down the hallway again. He took out loans. What kind of loans? I don't know all of them. All of them? She nodded, wiping her face with the back of her hand. At first, he said it was for business. He said he had a plan. He said we were going to get ahead. What business? She gave a bitter little laugh that had no joy in it. That's what I asked. I felt cold move through me. Marcus had always talked big. Too big. At family dinners, he would mention opportunities, and moves, and getting in early. He liked to make regular working people feel like they were small-minded because they saved instead of gambled. But I never knew where any of it went. Camille glanced toward the hallway again. He started using credit cards. Then personal loans. Then he borrowed from people. What people? Her face tightened. Bad people. I took a slow breath. Is that who called him? She nodded. I leaned against the counter because my legs suddenly felt weak. How much does he owe? Camille closed her eyes. I don't know the real number anymore. Tell me what you know. She whispered, maybe 40,000. $40,000. The room tilted. $40,000. And my daughter had been calling me crying for 500 here, 800 there, like she was trying to patch a sinking boat with tissue paper. Camille, I said, why didn't you tell me? Her face twisted. Because he said it was my fault. Your fault? He said I made him look weak. He said if I had been a better wife, he wouldn't have had to hide things. He said I spend too much. He said I embarrass him. I looked at the cheap groceries on the counter. Spend too much on what? She shrugged, crying. I don't even know anymore. That is how some people break you. They don't just lie to you. They make you stand trial for their lies. I wanted to find Marcus and slap every excuse out of his mouth. But anger would not help Camille in that moment. Have you signed anything? I asked. Her eyes dropped. My stomach tightened. What did you sign? He brought papers home. What papers? He said they were for refinancing. Refinancing what? The house. I looked around. This house? She nodded. Camille, is your name on this house? Yes. Did you read the papers? She cried harder. He rushed me. He said if I trusted him, I would sign. He said I was acting like my mother. My body went still. Like my mother. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I understood. Marcus had used me as an insult. He had turned my caution, my questions, my love for my daughter into something ugly. He told you being like me was bad? I asked softly. She looked ashamed. Mama. No. Don't protect him from that. She wiped her face. He said you never understood men with vision. I smiled a little, but my eyes were burning. Men with vision don't hide phones under pillows and scare their wives. Camille's mouth trembled. I know. That was the first time she said it. I know. Not maybe. Not I'm confused. I know. Before I could speak, Marcus came back into the kitchen. He looked calm now, but it was a fake calm. The kind a man puts on when he knows he has walked into the middle of his own mess. What are you two whispering about? He asked. Camille stepped back from me. Just one step. But I noticed. Marcus noticed too. I looked him in the eye. She told me. His face hardened. Told you what? Enough. He laughed. It was small and sharp. Camille is confused. No, she's scared. His eyes moved to her. Is that what you told your mother? Camille lowered her head. I stepped between them without thinking. Don't talk to her like that. He looked at me like I had offended him. This is my house. No, I said. This is a house. And a house is not a kingdom. His jaw moved. Mrs. Eleanor, you need to leave. I will. And Camille is coming with me. No, she's not. Camille made a small sound behind me. I turned to her. Get your purse. She didn't move. Marcus smiled then. Not big. Just enough to show he knew something I didn't. She won't leave. I faced him again. Why? Because she knows what happens if she does. The room went silent. He had said too much. We all knew it. For a moment, even Marcus seemed to realize he had let the mask slip. I took one step closer. What happens? He looked away. Nothing. No. Say it again. He turned toward the window. You people always twist things. You people. That phrase told me more about him than any confession could. I had heard it before in different forms. From bosses. From strangers. From people who smiled when they wanted something and sneered when they didn't get it. But hearing it from the man who shared a bed with my daughter made my chest burn. I kept my voice steady. Camille, get your purse. This time, she moved. Slowly. Like she was waiting for permission from the air itself. Marcus blocked the kitchen doorway. You walk out that door, he said, and don't expect to come back. Camille stopped. I could see the fear run through her body. I turned to her. Baby, look at me. She did. You can always come home to me. Marcus laughed again. With what money? You think your mother can fix this? She's been sending you little pity payments, and it still wasn't enough. I felt my face get hot. He knew. He knew every time. All those months Camille begged me not to tell him, and he knew. Maybe he had told her to call. Maybe he had stood nearby while she cried. Maybe my love had been part of his plan. I looked at Camille. Her face confirmed it. Did he make you ask me? I whispered. She closed her eyes. That was the answer. I had to grip the counter to keep from falling apart. My own child had cried to me, yes. But behind those tears was a man using her pain like a tool. Marcus said, nobody made her do anything. She wanted to help her household. By draining her mother? You offered. I offered because she was crying. And she's good at that. Before I knew it, I moved toward him. Not to hit him. But close enough that he stepped back. You listen to me, I said. That is my daughter. Not your shield. Not your bank. Not your excuse. My daughter. For 1 second, his eyes flashed. I thought he might raise his hand. Not at me maybe. But the thought was there. Camille saw it too. She rushed forward. Stop. Please stop. Mama, just go. No. Mama, please. No, I said again. I am done leaving you in rooms where you have to beg. That sentence broke her. She covered her face and sobbed. Marcus looked toward the front door, then back at us. He was calculating. Men like Marcus are always calculating. What can I say? What can I deny? Who will believe me? What will this cost? Then he straightened his shirt. You're both being dramatic, he said. Camille, tell your mother you're staying. Camille stood there crying. Tell her, he said, harder. I watched my daughter's lips tremble. Then she whispered, I'm staying. The words hit me like a slap. Camille. She shook her head. I'm sorry. Marcus smiled. There are some smiles you never forget. That was one of them. He thought he had one. But he didn't understand something. A mother can be quiet for a long time. Too long sometimes. She can forgive disrespect. She can swallow worry. She can excuse distance. She can send money and make herself believe everything is fine. But when she finally sees the truth, she does not unsee it. I picked up my purse. Marcus stepped aside, pleased with himself. I walked to the front door. Then I turned back and looked at Camille. "I love you," I said. "My door is open. Day or night. No questions first. No shame. Just come." She cried silently. Marcus rolled his eyes. I looked at him. "And you," I said, "should pray she never tells me everything." His face changed. I left before my anger made me say something I could not take back. When I got into my car, my hands shook so badly I could not put the key in the ignition. I sat there breathing hard. Then I did what I should have done months earlier. I called someone. Not the police yet. Not because I didn't believe my daughter was in danger. But because I knew if I moved wrong, Camille might deny everything, and Marcus would tighten his grip. I called my sister Denise. Denise is 2 years younger than me, but she has always had the spirit of a woman who could fight a bear with a purse and win. She answered on the second ring. "Girl, why are you calling me breathing like that?" I tried to speak. Nothing came out. "Eleanor?" I broke down. I cried so hard my chest hurt. Denise stayed quiet until I could talk. Then I told her everything. The money. The phone. The bruise. The loans. The fear. When I finished, Denise said one word. "Okay." That was all. But I knew that okay. It meant she was already putting on shoes. 30 minutes later, she was at my house. She came in wearing sweatpants, sneakers, and a jacket, carrying her big leather purse like it held legal documents and a brick. I had tea on the table, but neither of us drank it. Denise sat across from me, listening as I went over everything again. When I got to the part where Marcus said, "She won't leave," my sister's face went flat. "Control," she said. I nodded. "That's what it is. Financial, emotional, maybe physical." I closed my eyes. I should have seen it. "No," Denise said firmly. "Don't do that." "But I'm her mother. And he's her husband. He had access you didn't. He had time you didn't. He had her behind closed doors." I wiped my face. "I kept sending money. You were trying to help your child." "I may have been helping him." Denise leaned forward. "Then we stop helping him." "How?" "First, no more money unless you know exactly where it's going. Second, we document everything. Dates, amounts, what she said. Third, we get advice." "From who?" "A lawyer. A domestic violence center. Somebody who knows how to handle this without making it worse." That sounded so serious. Domestic violence center. Lawyer. Documentation. I wanted this to be something smaller. A misunderstanding. A bad patch. A husband under pressure. But truth does not shrink just because you are afraid of its size. Denise stayed with me that night. We sat at the kitchen table until almost 2 in the morning, writing down every transfer I had sent. I printed bank records. Denise put them in a folder. Then she made me write what I saw. Camille's bruise. Her phone hidden. Marcus's words. The call about Friday. Everything. My hands shook the whole time. At one point, I stopped writing and said, "What if she hates me for this?" Denise looked at me. She might. That honesty hurt. But would you rather have her angry and alive, or polite and trapped? I had no answer. The next morning, I called Camille. No answer. I texted. "I love you. I am here. You don't have to explain anything before coming home." She didn't reply. All day, I watched my phone. I barely ate. I tried to fold clothes, but I kept folding the same towel over and over. Around 3 in the afternoon, my phone rang. Camille. I answered so fast I almost dropped it. Baby? Her voice was calm. Too calm. Mama, I need you to stop. My heart sank. Stop what? Stop getting involved. Did Marcus tell you to call me? No. But I heard him. Not his voice. His presence. Some people can stand in a room so loudly you can hear them through silence. Camille, are you alone? She paused. Mama, I'm fine. That is not what I asked. I'm fine, she repeated, sharper. I closed my eyes. Okay. She sounded surprised. Okay? Yes. I hear you. A little of her anger softened. I don't want trouble. I know. You don't understand what this could do. I don't. But I want to. She was quiet. Then she said, barely above a whisper, I can't talk. Can you listen? Another pause. Yes. If you ever need to leave, you come to me. If you can't call, send me any message. A blank message. A period. Anything. I'll understand. Her breathing changed. Mama. I won't ask questions on the phone. I won't argue. Just send me a sign. I heard a small sound, like she was crying quietly. Then her voice changed again. Harder. I have to go. The line ended. I sat there holding the phone. Then I saved a note in my contacts. If Camille sends a period, go get her. For the next 2 days, nothing happened. No calls. No texts. Friday came. The day Marcus had mentioned on the phone. I woke up with a heavy feeling in my chest. All morning, I moved around my house like a woman waiting for a storm. At noon, I went to church. Not for service. Just to sit. The sanctuary was empty except for Sister Ruth arranging flowers near the front. She saw my face and asked if I was all right. I almost said yes. That old habit. That old lie women tell to keep from spilling pain in public. But instead, I said, no. She came and sat beside me. I didn't tell her everything. Just enough. She held my hand and said, sometimes the Lord lets us feel unrest because danger is trying to hide behind manners. I never forgot that. Danger hiding behind manners. That was Marcus. Clean shirt. Nice house. Smooth voice. Danger with polished shoes. That evening, I sat in my living room with Denise beside me. She had brought a bag of snacks, but neither of us touched them. At 8:17 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Camille. Just one character. A period. I stood up so fast the phone fell from my hand. Denise grabbed her purse. Let's go. We drove across town in silence. My hands were on the wheel, but my whole body was praying. When we turned onto Camille Street, I saw her. She was standing near the corner, not in front of her house. She had no coat. No purse. Just her phone in one hand and a small tote bag in the other. I pulled over. Before the car fully stopped, she opened the back door and got in. Mama, drive, she said. I didn't ask. I drove. Denise turned around in the passenger seat. Baby, are you hurt? Camille shook her head, but she was crying. Is he following you? I asked. I don't know. I looked in the mirror. No car behind us yet. We drove 3 blocks. Then 4. Then my phone rang. Marcus. I let it ring. Then Camille's phone rang. She looked at the screen and started shaking. Denise reached back. Give it to me. Camille handed it over. Denise turned it off. Camille let out a sob. I left, she cried. I really left. I wanted to pull over and hold her. But I kept driving. Because sometimes love means holding the wheel steady until your child is safe enough to fall apart. We made it to my house. I parked in the driveway, and we hurried inside. Denise locked the door behind us. Camille stood in my living room, looking around like she had entered a place from another lifetime. Then she sank onto the couch and wept. Not pretty crying. Not soft tears. The kind of crying that comes from months of fear finally finding a door. I sat beside her and wrapped my arms around her. She clung to me like she was a child again. Mama, I'm sorry, she cried. I'm so sorry. For what? For lying. For taking your money. For letting him talk about you. For not listening. I rocked her gently. You are home now. But I messed everything up. No, I said. You survived long enough to come home. Denise stood near the window, watching the street. Camille, she said, is Marcus likely to come here? Camille pulled back and wiped her face. Yes. That one word changed the room. Denise nodded once. Then we need to be ready. I called the police non-emergency line and asked what to do if an abusive spouse came to my home. Saying those words out loud made Camille cry again. Abusive spouse. It sounded official. Cold. Real. They told me if he came and threatened anyone, call emergency immediately. They also gave information for filing a report and getting protective help. I wrote everything down. Camille sat at the table, trembling. I made her tea she did not drink. Denise checked the locks. Around 10:09 p.m., headlights swept across my front window. A car pulled up hard outside. Camille whispered, "That's him." My heart started pounding. Marcus got out and came up my walkway like he owned the ground beneath him. He banged on the door. Not knocked. Banged. Camille. She flinched so hard the chair moved. I stood, but Denise put a hand out. I'll handle the door. No, I said. This is my house. I walked to the door but did not open it. Marcus, leave. I know she's in there. Leave. Camille, get out here. His voice was loud enough for neighbors to hear. Good. Let them hear. Camille came into the hallway behind me, crying silently. I turned and pointed toward the back room. Stay there. Marcus banged again. You have no right keeping my wife from me. I spoke through the door. She is here because she wants to be here. She's confused. No. She's safe. That made him quiet for a second. Then his voice dropped. Mrs. Eleanor, you don't know what you're doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. You're going to ruin her life. I looked back at Camille. Her face was pale. I thought of every time she had begged me not to come. Every dollar I sent. Every tear she swallowed. Then I said, "No, Marcus. I think you already tried." He kicked the bottom of my door. Denise called emergency services. Marcus must have heard her speaking because he stepped back. "You're calling the police on me," he shouted. Denise shouted back from the living room, "And we'll call again if you don't move." For a moment, there was silence. Then Marcus said something that made my blood go cold. "Camille, if they find out, I'm telling them you signed too." Camille made a sound like she had been struck. I turned around. What does he mean? She covered her mouth. Marcus laughed outside. Ask her, Mrs. Eleanor. Ask your innocent daughter what she put her name on. Then he left. His car door slammed. His tires screeched as he drove away. The police came 20 minutes later. We told them he had come to the house, shouted, kicked the door, and threatened Camille. They took notes. They spoke with her gently. They gave us resources and encouraged her to make a report about the abuse and threats. Camille was shaking so badly Denise wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. After the officers left, the house settled into a different kind of quiet. Not safe exactly, but protected. I sat across from my daughter at the kitchen table. Denise stood by the sink, arms folded. Camille looked down at her hands. I did not want to ask. But I had to. What did he mean, baby? Her tears started again. He made me sign for a business account. What business? She shook her head. It wasn't real. Denise closed her eyes. I felt my stomach drop. Camille whispered, Mama. I think he used my name. For what? She looked up at me. Her face was full of shame. Loans. Credit cards. Maybe more. The room seemed to shrink around us. How many? I asked. I don't know. How much? She whispered, I don't know. I sat back. All this time, I thought my daughter was hiding a marriage problem. But now I understood. Marcus had not just broken her heart. He may have tied her name to his mess. And the money I had been sending every month was not saving her. It was keeping his secrets alive. The next morning, Camille woke up in my guest room like a woman who had forgotten how peace felt. I was already in the kitchen. I had been awake since before sunrise, not because I slept well, but because sleep kept letting go of me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Marcus at my door. I heard his voice. Ask your innocent daughter what she put her name on. Those words stayed in the house like a bad smell. I made grits, eggs, and toast because that is what I did when I didn't know what else to do. Feeding people was the language I knew before I learned boundaries, paperwork, and emergency plans. Camille came into the kitchen wearing one of my old robes. Her eyes were swollen. Her hair was wrapped in a scarf I had given her years ago. For a moment, she looked younger. Not 36. 16. Maybe 12. Maybe the same little girl who used to sit at the table swinging her feet while I packed her school lunch. Morning, she said softly. Morning, baby. She stood there like she wasn't sure where to sit. That hurt me. This was her mother's house. But fear had made even familiar places feel borrowed. Sit down, I said. Eat something. I'm not hungry. I didn't ask if you were hungry. She gave me the smallest smile. That smile almost broke me. She sat. I put a plate in front of her. For a while, neither of us spoke. The morning sun came through the curtains, soft and yellow, touching the table like nothing terrible had happened the night before. That is one of the strange things about pain. The world does not always look different after your life falls apart. Birds still sing. Neighbors still water flowers. Coffee still brews. And you sit there wondering how the sky can be so calm when your chest is full of thunder. Camille picked up her fork but didn't eat. Mama, she said, I don't know what to do. We take one step at a time. What if I go to jail? I looked at her. Why would you go to jail? She swallowed. Because I signed things. Did you know they were false? She shook her head quickly. No. Not at first. At first? Her eyes dropped. I sat down across from her. Camille, I need you to tell me everything. Not the pretty version. Not the version that makes you look better. The truth. She started crying before she spoke. I was embarrassed. About what? About all of it. She wiped her face with the sleeve of my robe. When we first got married, Marcus made me feel like I had finally been chosen. You know? I nodded slowly. I did know. My daughter had always wanted love to feel safe. After her father died, she carried a quiet fear that people could leave even when they loved you. Marcus came into her life with plans, confidence, and big promises. He made her feel like nothing bad could touch her again. He used to say we were going to build something, she said. He said he didn't want us living paycheck to paycheck like other people. He said we deserved more. What did more mean? At first, a better house. Then a new car. Then investments. Then he started talking about opening a consulting company. Did he open one? On paper. I sighed. She looked ashamed. He told me to sign because wives support their husbands. I hated that sentence. Wives support their husbands. People use good words for bad purposes every day. Support. Trust. Loyalty. Family. All beautiful words until someone twists them into a rope. What did the papers say? I asked. I don't remember all of it. Try. She closed her eyes. Business credit. A line of credit. Something with equipment. A lease maybe. Equipment for what? He said office equipment. Did you ever see an office? She shook her head. No. Did you ask? Yes. He said I was being negative. I leaned back. Of course he did. Men like Marcus love calling questions negativity. Because questions turn on lights. And lies hate light. Camille continued. Then the payments started coming. Letters. Calls. Emails. He told me not to worry. He said he was moving money around. Then one day, a man came to the house. My body tightened. What man? I don't know his name. Marcus called him Ray. What did Ray want? Money. Her voice went small. He came when Marcus wasn't home. He stood on the porch smiling, but it wasn't friendly. He said, "Tell your husband Friday means Friday." I remembered the phone call. Friday. My hands curled around my mug. Did Marcus owe him? Yes. For the business? I don't think so. What for? Camille looked away. Gambling. The words sat between us. Gambling. I had suspected something foolish, something risky, but hearing it still made my chest tighten. What kind? Sports betting. Online things. Cards. I don't even know. He had apps on his phone. He kept saying he had a system. A system. How many lives had been ruined by someone who thought they had a system? He won sometimes, Camille said. That was the worst part. When he won, he acted like that proved he was right. He'd bring home money, buy dinner, give me flowers. Then he'd lose twice as much the next week. I thought of Marcus at family dinners, talking about discipline and wealth. Lord, the pride of some men. So the money I sent. She covered her face. I'm sorry. Was it going to him? Sometimes. Camille. I know. She sobbed. I know, Mama. I tried to use it for bills. I did. But then he would say if I didn't give him some, Ray would come back, or the account would close, or the house would be taken. He made everything feel like my fault. I stood and walked to the sink. Not because I wanted to leave her. Because I needed somewhere to put my anger. I gripped the counter and looked out the window. A squirrel ran along the fence. The sun was bright. My daughter was sitting at my table telling me her husband had turned her life into a trap. And the world still looked normal. I turned back. Did he ever hit you? She stared at the table. The silence answered before she did. Camille. Not like, she stopped. Not like what? Not like punching. I felt sick. He grabbed me. Pushed me once. Held my wrist. Took my phone. Blocked the door. I closed my eyes. People think abuse only counts when there is blood. But sometimes the bruise is on the choices a person no longer believes they have. Did he threaten you? She nodded. He said if I left, I'd lose everything. He said he'd tell everyone I ruined his business. He said he had proof I signed. He said nobody would believe I didn't know. Did you know? She looked at me. I knew things were wrong near the end. I didn't know how wrong. And I was scared. That was honest. Painfully honest. I sat back down. Fear makes people do things they never thought they would do. She cried quietly. But we still have to face it. She nodded. I know. After breakfast, Denise came over again. She brought folders, a yellow legal pad, and her laptop. My sister has always been a woman of action. While I was still feeling the wound, she was already building the bandage. We need a full picture, she said. Credit reports. Bank accounts. Loan documents. Anything with Camille's name on it. Camille looked terrified. I don't want to see it. Denise softened. I know, baby. But the mess already exists. Looking at it does not create it. That was a hard truth. We sat at the kitchen table for hours. Camille logged into her email. At first, she struggled to remember passwords because Marcus had changed some of them. That made Denise mutter things under her breath I will not repeat. We found emails from lenders. Credit card notices. Past due warnings. Business account statements. Some were in Camille's name only. Some were joint. Some had Marcus's email as recovery. One message mentioned an address we didn't recognize. A mailbox place across town. Another reference to business name. MC Legacy Solutions. I almost laughed. Legacy. That man had the nerve to put legacy on debt. Denise wrote everything down. I made copies. Camille sat with her arms wrapped around herself, getting smaller with every new discovery. At one point, she whispered, "Mama, I can't breathe." I pushed the papers aside. Then we stopped for a minute. "No," she said. "If we stop, I won't start again." So we kept going. By the end of the day, we had a rough number. Not 40,000. More. Close to $68,000 in debts, credit lines, and unpaid accounts connected to Camille in some way. 68,000. I stared at the number until it blurred. Denise took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes. Camille was silent. Too silent. "Baby," I said. She didn't move. "Camille." Then she stood up suddenly and ran to the bathroom. I heard her get sick. I started to follow, but Denise touched my arm. "Give her a second." So I stood in my kitchen listening to my daughter break down behind a closed door. That is a helpless feeling I hope no mother ever has to know. You want to take the pain out of them, but all you can do is wait with a towel and a glass of water. When Camille came back, her face was gray. "I ruined my life," she whispered. "No," I said. "Yes, Mama." "No. How am I going to fix this?" "One piece at a time." "What if I lose the house?" I looked at her. "Baby, that house already cost you too much." She started crying again. I wanted my marriage to work. I know. I didn't want to be divorced. I know. I didn't want people saying I failed. That hurt because I understood it. Women are taught to carry broken things and smile like they are strong. A broken marriage. A broken man. A broken promise. A broken home. And if we put it down, people ask why we didn't carry it better. I reached for her hand. Leaving danger is not failure. She cried into her other hand. That house was supposed to be my future. No, I said softly. You are your future. The next few days became a blur of phone calls and appointments. We contacted a legal aid office. We spoke with a domestic violence advocate. We froze Camille's credit. We changed her passwords. We opened a new bank account in her name only. We documented the money I had sent. We took pictures of the bruise on her wrist before it faded. That was hard. She stood near my bedroom window, sleeve pushed up, crying quietly while Denise took the photo. I feel stupid, Camille said. I took her face in my hands. You are not stupid. I let him do this. You trusted your husband. I ignored signs. You were scared. I lied to you. Yes, I said gently. You did. She looked at me like that hurt. But I would not lie to heal a wound that needed cleaning. You lied, I said. And we will talk about that. But your lie came from fear. His lies came from control. Those are not the same thing. She cried and nodded. That night, after Denise left, Camille and I sat on the couch. She had a blanket around her shoulders. The TV was on, but neither of us watched it. Finally, she said, "Do you hate me?" I turned to her. No. Are you angry? Yes. She looked down. But not in the way you think, I said. What way? I'm angry that you suffered alone. I'm angry that he made you believe you couldn't come to me. I'm angry that I let politeness keep me from asking harder questions sooner. She wiped her eyes. I didn't want you to see me like this. Baby, I changed your diapers. I held your hair when you had the flu. I watched you give birth to grief when your daddy died. There is no version of you too broken for me to love. She leaned against me then. I put my arm around her. For the first time in days, her body relaxed. Just a little. But enough. The next morning, Marcus started calling again. Not once. Over and over. Camille's phone lit up until Denise told her to block him. But blocking him did not stop the messages. He emailed. He used unknown numbers. He left voicemails. At first, they were sweet. Baby, come home. We can fix this. Then sorry. Then angry. Your mother is poisoning you. Then threatening. You better remember what you signed. Then pitiful. I'm going to lose everything because of you. Camille listened to one voicemail and broke down. I took the phone from her. Marcus's voice filled my kitchen. Camille, stop acting like a child. Your mother can't protect you from real life. If you don't come back, I swear I'm telling everybody what you did. You think you can walk away clean? You signed too. Don't forget that. I saved it. Denise said, that's evidence. Evidence. Another cold word that had become part of our lives. A week after Camille came home, we had our first appointment with an attorney recommended by the advocate. Her name was Ms. Jackson. She was a calm woman with silver locks and glasses that sat low on her nose. Her office smelled like coffee and paper. Camille sat beside me, twisting a tissue in her hands. Ms. Jackson listened without interrupting. She reviewed the documents we brought. Every few minutes, she made a note. When Camille cried, Ms. Jackson passed her a box of tissues and waited. That patience was a mercy. When we finished, Ms. Jackson leaned back. This is complicated, she said. My heart sank. But not hopeless. Camille looked up. Ms. Jackson continued. There are several issues here. Potential financial abuse. Possible fraud. Debt liability depending on what was signed and under what circumstances. Marital property questions. Safety concerns. We need to move carefully. Camille whispered, "Am I going to jail?" Ms. Jackson looked at her kindly. "Based on what you've told me, this sounds like coercion and deception. But I need you to be honest at every step. No hiding. No minimizing. No protecting him." Camille nodded. Ms. Jackson looked at me. "And you, Mrs. Eleanor, no more money to either of them." "I know. I mean it. Not $1 unless advised and documented for a specific legal or safety purpose." I nodded, ashamed. She softened. "I'm not scolding you. I'm protecting you too." That made my eyes burn. Protecting me too. I had been so busy being a mother, I had forgotten I was also a person who could be harmed. Before we left, Ms. Jackson gave Camille a list. File a police report. Request financial records. Prepare for separation. Consider a protective order. Keep all messages. Do not meet Marcus alone. Camille looked overwhelmed. Ms. Jackson said, "You don't have to climb the mountain today. Today, you just put on shoes." On the drive home, Camille stared out the window. I didn't push her to talk. Sometimes silence is the only place a person can gather themselves. But when we stopped at a red light, she said, "Mama?" "Yes?" "I don't want to go back." I felt tears sting my eyes. "Okay. I'm scared. I know. But I don't want to go back." I reached across and held her hand. "That is enough for today." For a while, it seemed like we were moving forward. Slowly. Painfully. But forward. Camille started sleeping better. She helped me cook. She sat on the porch with me in the evenings. She even laughed once when Denise came over and complained about her knees, even though Denise still walked faster than both of us. But peace, when someone like Marcus is losing control, does not arrive without resistance. 2 weeks after Camille left, I got a call from my bank. A woman from the fraud department asked if I had recently applied for a personal loan. I frowned. No. She confirmed my name, then asked about an application submitted online using my information. My blood went cold. "How much?" I asked. $15,000. I sat down slowly. My ears started ringing. The woman explained that the application had been flagged because some information didn't match their records. She asked if I wanted to report it as fraud. "Yes," I said. My voice sounded far away. After the call, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at nothing. Camille came in and saw my face. "Mama?" I looked at her. "Did Marcus have my information?" Her face drained. "I don't know. Think." She gripped the back of a chair. "He had copies of some papers." "What papers?" "Old tax forms maybe. When we were trying to help you refinance your car after Daddy died. He said he was organizing things." My hands began to shake. Marcus had not just used my daughter. He had turned toward me too. The same man who watched me send money month after month had tried to take more. And that was when my sadness changed. It did not disappear. But something else rose beside it. A steady fire. Not revenge. I was too tired for revenge. This was protection. I called Denise. Then I called Ms. Jackson. Then I froze my credit too. By evening, we had filed reports and gathered more documents. Camille cried so hard she could barely speak. "I brought him into your life," she said. "No," I told her. "He walked in wearing a mask. That is not your fault." But inside, I was shaken. Because now I understood Marcus better. He was not a desperate husband making bad choices. He was not just weak. He was dangerous with paperwork. And paper can ruin lives quietly. The next Sunday, I went to church for the first time since Camille came home. I needed prayer. I needed people. I needed to sit somewhere Marcus had not touched. Camille wasn't ready to go, so Denise stayed with her. I walked into the sanctuary wearing a navy dress and a small hat Joseph used to like. People hugged me. Asked how I was. I said, holding on. That was true enough. After service, while I was near the fellowship hall, Marcus's mother approached me. Her name was Vivian. She was a proud woman who wore pearls to the grocery store and believed her son could do no wrong unless someone else made him. Eleanor, she said. I turned. Vivian. Her smile was thin. I hear Camille is staying with you. I looked at her carefully. She is. Vivian sighed like I had inconvenienced her. This has gone far enough. I felt my body go still. What has? You know, marriage has ups and downs. Abuse is not an up or down. Her face tightened. Marcus told me Camille is unstable right now. I almost laughed. Of course he did. Did Marcus also tell you about the debts? Her eyes flickered. He said Camille signed things and then panicked. Did he tell you he came to my house shouting and kicking my door? He was upset. His wife disappeared. His wife left. Vivian leaned closer. You need to stop filling her head. I looked at this woman, this mother defending her son because the truth was too ugly to hold. And for a moment, I felt sorry for her. Not enough to soften the truth. But enough to understand how deep denial can go. Vivian, I said, I am not filling Camille's head. I am helping her hear her own voice again. Her mouth tightened. You'll regret this. No, I said. I regret waiting so long. She stared at me, then walked away. That conversation spread. By Monday, Camille's cousin called asking what was going on. By Tuesday, an aunt on Marcus's side posted something online about mothers ruining marriages. By Wednesday, someone from church asked if Camille was being dramatic. That one almost made me lose my religion right there in the parking lot. People love judging a fire when they never smelled the smoke. Camille saw some of the posts and cried. I knew this would happen, she said. I sat beside her on the bed. People talking does not mean they know. But it hurts. Yes. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. No. Everybody who wants the truth to stay buried is calling you crazy because it's easier than calling him wrong. She leaned against me. I don't feel strong. You don't have to feel strong to take the next step. The next step came sooner than we expected. Ms. Jackson called and said Marcus's attorney had reached out. Marcus wanted Camille to return to the house for a conversation about separation and finances. No, Ms. Jackson said firmly. Absolutely not alone. Marcus then offered to meet at a cafe. Camille refused. Then his tone changed again. He claimed Camille had stolen documents from the house. She hadn't. He claimed I was holding her against her will. I wasn't. He claimed she was mentally unstable. She was traumatized. There is a difference. Ms. Jackson advised us to stay calm and document. So we documented. Every message. Every call. Every lie. Meanwhile, the financial mess grew clearer. Some debts were Marcus's alone. Some were joint. Some had Camille's signature. Some looked suspicious. One signature did not look like hers at all. When Ms. Jackson saw it, she frowned. Camille, did you sign this? Camille stared at the paper. No. You're sure? Yes. That was the first time I saw anger rise in my daughter without fear covering it. He signed my name, she said. Her voice was quiet. But something had changed. He signed my name. Ms. Jackson nodded. Then we addressed that. On the drive home, Camille was silent again. But this silence was different. Not broken. Thinking. When we got home, she went into the guest room. I gave her space. An hour later, she came out holding a notebook. Mama, she said, I started writing everything down. I looked at her. Everything I remember. Dates. What he said. When he made me sign. When Ray came. When he took my phone. All of it. I felt tears fill my eyes. That's good, baby. She nodded. I'm tired of being scared. I wanted to say she would never be scared again. But that would be a lie. Healing does not remove fear in one day. It teaches you that fear can ride in the car, but it does not have to hold the wheel. That evening, we sat together at the kitchen table. Camille wrote. I made tea. Denise came by and brought banana pudding because, as she said, if we're fighting demons, we need dessert. For the first time in weeks, we laughed. A real laugh. Small, but real. And I thought maybe, just maybe, my daughter was coming back to herself. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It was a photo. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Then my blood ran cold. It was a picture of my house. Taken from across the street. Below it was one line. Tell Camille Friday is coming again.